Hello, hello, good friends. I'm so excited to be here again with you all. It's been a great Monday. I hope you all have enjoyed it. It's been rainy here in Orlando, but rainy days are great because it diminishes the heat here. I know not everyone's in summer weather yet. So wherever you are, I hope your weather is just the absolute vibe that you needed that day. Because as we kick off this week, it sets the tone for every day to come, which is why I love being here at Pink Pixels. I've said this time and time again, and I absolutely mean it. This is my foundation for the rest of the week. This is what grounds me. It gives me perspective. It gives me inspiration. And I hope you all in chat also feel the same way, that when you come here and you hear different stories, you see different things that women are doing in this space, that it's something that you get excited about, that you want to do your own activities, you want to make your own changes, that you want to support others that are doing really awesome things, and you know how to do it. This is a space where we talk about great things and how we can be a part of these stories. And so tonight, as with always, we have an amazing guest. And I'm so excited to have you all meet Stefy this evening. So please, if you would all be ever so kind, give a warm welcome to Stefy.
Hey everyone, that was a kick butt introduction. Good job there.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Stefy.
Yes, so you're gonna hear my accent, so I'm just gonna go out and tell you I am from Italy. So I was born in Italy, and I was a little girl. I was 6, and I had a dream. And I looked at my mom and dad in the eyes, and I said, "My dream is one day to become the best motorcycle racer there is." You'll think, what's a motorcycle have to do with gaming and esport and all of that? You will learn as we go through. But like I just had that dream and worked very hard. I was incredibly lucky to have my parents be incredibly supportive of my desire. And long story short, I'm gonna make it short now, but we have plenty of time to dig into it. I became 3-time world champion. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love that you just throw that out there. Like, 3-time world champion. That's an amazing feat in and of itself. 3, not just once. And again, let's reemphasize that there's the word world in there. Like, better than, like, that's phenomenal. And to hold that title 3 times just shows that there's consistency in your excellence. Like, you are not a one-time top tier. You are just, that's who you are as a person, a top tier individual.
Well, I wanted to do that, and again, a lot of people, around the world that sometimes, like they don't know what they want to do and what they want to become. And that's okay. Like there is a time for everybody to make those decisions. For me, I just fell into it and fell in love with the sport at 6. So, like I just went for it and kept going, and then getting all of my titles, including those 3 world titles. So, yes, I consider myself lucky again because I had my parents supporting, and in anything you do in life, it's incredibly important to have a supporting group.
Yes.
For me, were my parents, but like anybody, they can be around you, it can support you and be there for you. It's incredibly important. So always seek out those individual, in anything you want to do.
I love that. That's such a good message. And you're right. Like, it's amazing. I can't imagine having that kind of vision at 6 years old. I can't even imagine me at 19 because I changed my degree program so many times anyway. Like, I'm going to be this. No, I'm going to be this, right? But you at 6, you're like, I know what I'm doing. It's such an amazing focus. I'm very jealous. But it doesn't matter, right? Like, wherever your journey begins, like, once you have that focus and you know where you want, it's that challenge of then moving forward. And I love that you emphasize the support. Like, so when you started, you had your parents as a support, but I imagine as you grew up, that support system got bigger. Who was part of your
Yes.
growing support group?
Absolutely, like having have done a sport that it is considered to the public and individual sport because it's motorcycle racing. So there is one person on the motorcycle. In that
Yes.
case, was me.
Yeah.
Like, but it's actually a team effort. It is completely a team effort. So around you, you have to have good engineer, good mechanics, good coaches for mental health. Like, so it's a team effort to be able to get to success. That's why, what I was saying, it's important that whatever you do, first and foremost, follow your passion. Follow your passion because you
Yes.
never get it wrong if you follow your passion. It doesn't matter what people tell you, like, oh, that's not for you, or whatever. It's white noise. Don't
I
listen.
hear nothing.
Nothing, like a background sounds, like, no, just go for what you want, keep your passion, find what makes you get up and want to do things every morning, and go for it. And then things will start to come together. And then, yes, it's always like a team effort. Anything you do in life, in sport, in business, at school, you have to have a team to be able to succeed.
I just want to unpack what you mentioned there because there's so much that you mentioned. One first is that when you talk about passion, I see it in your face, right? We hear a lot of people like be passionate about what you do, but there's a difference of living it out, right? And embodying it and actually seeing it as a piece of energy that you can fuel yourself from. There's a difference, and like you're like lighting, you're like already smiling like I love this. You're enjoying being here in this space because you love what you do, and you're so right to
Yes.
find a support system. And I love when you were mentioning it, right? Like, okay, yeah, it makes sense in some of those, but I also like that you mentioned having even like a mental health coach, right, in the
Yes.
space because we often don't even think about that, but especially something that's so athletic. Why
Hmm.
would we look at mental? I mean, walk us through
Yes.
the values that we
Yeah,
see in
for me,
this.
like for I have a life experience, so I'm gonna share this, so that you can see it from my point of view, and then maybe take what I'm saying and see if it fits you or don't, But this is what happened to me. So yes, like I was the only woman at the top of my sport for many, many, many years.
Hmm.
So it can get difficult because
Yeah.
actually I have to say I had a journey through this. So,
Hmm.
since I started when I was very young, I was 6 years old, right? So there, boys and girls all the same. So you just go and play, you race motorcycle,
Yeah.
you win your buddies, you go having an ice cream together after the race. It's all good. The parents, not so much because, having, parents or little boys having a girl beating their son,
Oh,
it was like for parents to parents, it was not simple, environment. But for us that we were living it, no big deal. Like we were
yeah.
kiddos or friend. And then starting the teenage years. Well, teenage years are difficult years, because
For a lot of
hormones
reasons.
hormones happens like crazy thing, and I call in this stupid year
Mhm.
just to say that you are so into yourself and doing so many crazy things, and you believe that you know everything, and you really believe it, at that
Yes.
time. You really think, and I'm guilty of that too. Like
Hmm.
for me, in addition to being a teenager, I also was winning races. And to be able to win, you need to believe that you're the best person that ever
Hmm.
walk on this earth. So
Yes.
there was a lot of cockiness involved. It comes with the territory. It
Yes.
just comes with the territory. So if any of you out there experience this, it's normal. You're not cocky, you're just believing in yourself. And that's incredibly important. Confidence, it's one of the tools that we
Mm.
should, and women should always take on and keep on building upon. So back
Yeah.
to that, I had, of course, teenage years were becoming a little bit difficult, like in so many ways. And at some point, I was kind of like having a life that was pretty much divided in a way that I
Hmm.
had my school, so I had to go to school, even though I was a professional athlete. My parents say, nope, education come first. So I had to go to school.
Hmm.
And but at school, I also had to train. And growing up in Italy, we don't have the luxury, I would say, that you can have here in the US by doing, like going to school for your sport, where then your sport becomes first and
Hmm.
education second. It doesn't work like that in Italy. So,
One focus
but
again.
yes, but I really wanted to do this, and I knew what
Yeah.
it take to be able to be competitive. So first and foremost, I ended up going to my school at the time, and I came up with a contract all out of my mind. I went to my school, to the principal of the school, and I said, if you want me to come to your school,
Yeah.
I have to have us off Monday and Saturday. This is like in Italy, you go through Saturday too.
Oh.
Monday and Saturday of these particular dates throughout the year, because I'm racing and so I'm traveling, right?
Hmm.
So I went to my school and said, if you want me at your school, we have to agree to this.
Yes.
Which the principal did. And the fun thing is, like, when I went home and I told my mom and dad, they say, what did you do? I say, yeah, I was looking after my career,
You're
like,
your own first agent, right? Out there
exactly.
negotiating for your needs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with that type of a school schedule, it came the fact that, of course, like, some of the students say, why she's doing that? And
Mhm.
I'm going back and say, well, who's going racing? It's me or is you? I'm going racing, so that's why I need this, like, so always championing my own
Mhm.
desire and my own schedule, right? In
Mhm.
that way. However, like, a lot of time it happens, when you have school friends, you tend to spend time with them also in the weekend.
Yeah.
But in the weekend, I was racing. So I started to create the really weird things where I was experiencing my teenage years. And then
Mhm.
I'm like, wait, at school, they don't really like me. One, that I have what they consider privilege, which it wasn't a privilege, because if I was missing school those days, not they were just gifted to me.
Yeah.
No, I needed to, like, pick it back up on
Yeah.
my
You're
own
doing
time.
extra hours
So
of working elsewhere.
yes, so it wasn't privilege, like, but I choose that.
Right.
Right? I choose that. So, whereas it was very hard at some point, because I'm like, okay, I don't have any school friends who want to hang around with me because I'm never available in the weekend.
Mhm.
And when I am at school, like, they think that I'm somebody special, so they don't want to kind of relate to me.
Yeah.
But again, I took strength from my desire and my
Mhm.
passion, and I say, I want to do this. So, because this is what I want to do, there is nothing that can stop me.
Mhm.
So in this case, though, mental health becomes important because at that point I started to become professional. I turned professional at 17. So likely also the team, was thinking on that regards, because even though, as you know by now, I'm a very self-driven person,
Yes.
still,
Drive is in your
like,
nature in multiple ways, I think.
exactly. I think so. So, like, but still, like, there was a lot of, like, making sure that I
Mhm.
was feeling good, on anything that I was doing, because yes, it comes everything from you, but sometimes you have doubts. It's normal in
Sure.
human life. Is normal. So again, everybody out there that is listening to this, if you have a doubt and on the thing that you're doing that you have the most amount of passion for, don't worry, it's normal.
Mhm.
However, I'm going to drop this in just because I think it's fun. I don't understand what imposter syndrome is.
I'm so
I don't
jealous. How can I
I
steal that
don't
from you?
understand it. I just don't understand it. But we'll dive into it a little bit later. But maybe you understand why, because of who I
Mhm.
am, and you're gonna get to know me. And by now you can totally say that I'm Italian because I keep doing this.
You got the hands up here. I love it. I
I
love it.
have the hands. Yes. So, like, I want to also to touch base again a little bit of the mental health part, because
Yes,
whereas,
please do.
I had the system around me, the
Mhm.
helping right there,
Yes.
like, I actually had a career ending injury. Like, I'm gonna just skip ahead to talk about this, but then we can come back because I want to tell you other very fun story.
Mhm.
So I had a career ending injuries, and during my career ending injury, it
Yeah,
happened all of a sudden. So career ending means, like,
that's it.
everything stops. So for me, like, what happened, I destroyed my ankles so much so that they wanted to amputate my legs, like,
What?
right there in surgery. Yes. But again, like, immediately I was not grasping to that. In fact, I was on the operating table and talking to the surgeon and said, yeah, yeah, you're saying that, but when can I go back racing? See? And the surgeon said, no, you might not be able to walk again. It's
Yeah, this
different.
this is
And
a
I'm like,
very
yeah, yeah,
different
whatever.
story.
But my mind was still like, whatever, I'll do adaptive X Games. But when can I go that back racing?
Yes, you're the never surrender. Like you have your
Never,
goal, and not
never
even
give up.
the possibility of losing your ankle, your feet. Right on this end, you're like, it doesn't matter. Changes
No,
nothing.
nothing. And this is something that I wish after we speak with a couple hours, women that are listening to this and allies and everybody will feel that energy and they'll say, yes, I want to go for what I love in life. But what I was going with this part is that then when reality set in, like, Then it became difficult
Yeah.
because I'm like, okay. So now, the word that I knew all of a sudden stopped,
Right.
right? And as happens in a lot of sports, it's getting better now.
Mhm.
But I'm a little older right now, so in my times, it there was nothing prepared
Mhm.
for you could do after your athletic career.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
So again, to be an athlete at your top level, you need to believe that you're gonna continue to race and be the best. Otherwise, if you ever a slight idea of fear comes into your head, you're
Mhm.
done, right? So you're gonna continue to believe that you can continue to race forever. So when that then happened to me, it was very difficult because when I grasped the severity of
Yes.
what happened to me, I was like, now what? Like the word that I knew up until that point, it disappeared, really disappeared. So like I got into a very dark spot. I went there, and like it was difficult. It was hard. I didn't know, like my life to me didn't make any more sense because I'm like, who is Steffi without racing?
Right. From 6 years old,
I
this was your focus.
exactly, exactly. And it was very hard, but I think the fact that I went into that dark place
Mhm.
helped me grow in the way that I am today. So this is mental health is important, but if you are in the best spot, don't be afraid to be in that spot because there is always the light at the end of the tunnel, always. So just stick with it, go through all your emotion and so again, surround yourself by good people.
Mhm.
And then when is the right time, you will see the benefit that part of your life seems so dark actually is going to turn from negative into positive. It will happen. Just have to stick with it. So in my word, what happened
Yeah.
was this, like when I started learning to walk again, I got asked to be the general manager of the women world motocross championship. So before I was competing with the girls,
Yeah.
and now, they ask me to be kind of like the mama for everybody.
You're like,
And
yes.
then, yes, because it gave me purpose. Like I was able to, now help everybody that was a competitor to me. Now I'm kind of like, no, 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 let's do all of this as a community. Let's all help each other out,
Mhm.
like, and then continue to grow. And then magic happens because all of the girls became much more recognized because instead of working individually in competition is important, yes, you are competing against other, but collectively if you work together for the same goal, you become much more powerful, and then each person that is on the top of the scale now like can inspire the one below and then continue to grow the base,
Mhm.
and it becomes a true pyramid. Yeah.
Wow, I love that. You're building so much together, and I love you. You're breathing out of it, but that is such an impactful story, right? Because at that point, and I appreciate you sharing, like, yeah, you got into that moment, right? There's a lot of emotions when you had that moment of realization, but you move forward, and the fact that because those around you were there for you, that kept
Mhm.
you going, right? When you can't
Yes.
be there for yourself, others can be there for
Lean.
you.
Yes,
Yes.
lean. It's
Mhm.
okay to lean on others.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I do a lot throughout my talks nowadays, but also, in the events, esport events we do, is I always say, ask.
Mhm.
Don't be scared of asking. Ask whatever that is in life that you need, ask for it.
Mhm.
Because there are people out there willing to give it to you, or at least help you understand how you can achieve it.
Mhm.
So don't be shy and ask.
Wow.
Yes.
It's so simple, but for whatever reason, we just don't do that, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
it's pride. Maybe we're worried that people won't say yes behind it. Maybe it's that vulnerability that we don't know who we can ask on that. There's a whole lot of barriers that we create, right? Those barriers that we
Yeah.
we build those to say, here's why I can't do this thing that would be so helpful for ourselves.
It's true. And like some of the things that we are trying to do with the esports stuff is
Mhm.
kind of like to dismantle those barriers
Yes.
and show that the ask is not that difficult. And of course, you have to be respectful
Hmm.
because people are busy. And if people don't reply, it's not because they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Keep this in mind. This is very important. If people don't reply an email, it's not because they don't want to reply. It's because life happens. So
Yes.
sometimes, they get busy. People get busy. So respectfully, ask again,
Mm-hmm.
and then the person we either say, I cannot help you, and let me tell you who can possibly help you, or maybe they are too busy, they're going to say, I cannot help you. But that's okay too, because at
Mm-hmm.
least you have the answer, you can move on, and go ask somebody else, right?
Yes.
So I always say, this is another thing. If there is a mountain in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you have to find a way to go past it. That can be above, underneath, around it, through it, build, a hook to an helicopter, whatever it is,
There's not
like
even just the standard. You could come up with any way to get around it.
anyway, anyway, trust, if there is a will, there is a way.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make it happen.
The helicopter run makes me feel like, are you watching like Fast X or something like this now? Like,
I'm not, but like I did my entire life into an extreme sport.
yeah.
So anything that has adrenaline, uh, I'll make a reference.
But I like that. Like let's pull on that because you have done things not traditional. Like when I think about if
Yeah.
we take this mountain metaphor, you are not the person that goes like the standard, like we're gonna go around it or we're gonna go through it. You're like, yes, I'm gonna be on my bike and I'm gonna hook up to a helicopter and they're gonna swing me around, right? Like that's your way because you've made
Yes.
the decision and know how you want to go about through things.
Hmm.
I think that's the
Yes.
amazing thing. It makes me think of that phrase you said earlier, a champion for yourself, right?
Hmm.
You advocate for yourself, you know how you want to do things. There's a lived passion in who you are and the actions you take.
Hmm. I think, and also in this way, there is nobody that knows you better than you.
Mhm.
So if you don't trust yourself in doing things, who is going to trust you? So, like you really have to kind of build on that confidence. And I know that a lot of people have issue in confidence. And for me, it's something that I'm learning because I don't have that. I don't have issue on not having confidence. Sometimes, again, it comes out, they might be cocky or whatever, but it's really because I feel like they have been surrounded, like my parents, since I was a little girl. They
Mhm.
never make any difference from me with anybody else around there. So of course I grow up saying, of course I belong here. Why not? So it's a mentality, right? It's like in the mind. And what I'm trying to do now later in life using esport is actually to open up those doors,
Mhm.
right? So like let me touch a little bit on this. I know that we're gonna be going back and forth a
Yeah.
little bit, but whatever, we are having a conversation. You can feel free to follow it or like jump in, like and say, what is this lady talking about? Whatever,
There are no
it's
things.
all
Yeah,
good.
it's fine. It's fine. Wherever, however.
Exactly. So, like I was going with saying that in esport, what we do now is to try to meet the girls where they are, okay? And do it for women by women. Because I've been through it, so I have my own experience. Everybody else might have a little bit different experience. But I read studies from the UK where they say where we lose the interest of the girls in whatever they want
Yeah.
to do, okay? That happens around the teenage years. And this is why, and maybe some of you can relate to this.
Okay.
So, if a boy fails in whatever they do,
Mhm.
like a test, a school, a sport, a e-sport, whatever, they fail. The core group around a boy says, "Come on, get up, do it again. You're better than that. You can do it again."
Mhm.
Okay. When a girl fail, 95% of the time, their response or their peer group is, "Oh, sweetie, it's okay. You tried." That drives me insane because what happens is like in the brain of the girls, they're getting told that
Mhm.
immediately you start feeling not confident.
Yes.
You start feeling like, oh, I'm not capable. Oh, I cannot do that. Or maybe I'm not cut for this, right?
Mhm.
BS. BS. Don't get that to inflict you. Follow other women, be with other women that they're going to be there and tell you, get up, do it
Yes.
again because you can.
Yes. It feels like some people might say like, "Oh, that sounds harsh," but it isn't, right? Like that's the idea of is I'm telling you this because I see the potential. You
Hmm.
don't stop here. You keep going because I
Exactly.
know you can, right?
Hmm.
That's the goal. And that it's such a smart thing. You're so right on that like, "Oh gosh," but it changes the
The
direction.
mentality.
Yes, entirely. You hear it of people there's cuz the other one it sounds like it's nice, right? Like I'm supporting you. Like it's okay you tried. It's kind, but it's not
Yeah,
helpful.
not at all. Not at all.
Mhm.
It's just doing the opposite what the intention is because as you said, it is intended to be kind, but that's not what the brain transfer,
Mhm.
like so we need to be more like, and again, a guy will not do this for a girl,
Mhm.
so that's why it's incredibly important to have community that are women driven,
Yes.
because I have the opportunity to tell a girl get up and do it again.
Yes.
A guy will first of all be being the father figure, so for certain kind, well, for certain kind
Yeah.
of communities, like,
Mhm.
and way that the some girls are grown up, then they feel it as an authoritarian figure,
Mhm.
like, and therefore if it is said, hey, sweetie, it's okay, immediately, like, again, you go into that, oh, I'm not good enough, I cannot, stand up for what is expected of me, right?
Even the pet
But if,
name, Sweetie, right?
yes, which happens and drives me crazy, like, but I know that, it's not that it's done with negative annotation, is
Right.
because deep inside is part of, like what we've been taught,
Yes.
it's nobody's fault, it's like what have we been taught. But
Mhm.
again, we are living in different times, we are all connected with each other, we can pull from each other and help each other, and little by little change the words, because
Mhm.
I was told, like, oh, you're gonna get a kick out of this, I have to come out and say, I was told that, oh, but women are not part of diversity.
But
Yes.
what are we
Yeah.
then?
Well, women are just women. Diversity is, like, African American, Latina, any kind of like different ethnicity. And my answer was, until it's 50-50, that's diversity.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a simpler way to put it.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I
And
mean?
that's such a narrow way to view diversity. Like, yes, oftentimes we
Yes.
do think of sex or gender or race, but there's also orientation. There's learning styles, right?
Yes.
There's a beginning experience diversity, of which you might have novices versus 20 years, 50 years within
Yep.
an. All of that adds to it. It's not, that's such a
Indeed.
myopic view of what diversity can mean.
Yes. Of course you can guess what gender said that.
Yes.
You know?
I
Yes.
think I might bet on that. Yeah. But let's yeah, I love that you're opening doors, right? Like you're like, I know,
Yes.
but
Hmm.
you had to open those doors for yourself. Like I love Racer Rec is
Yes.
out here like listening, like, hey, remember, back in 1999, first woman, right? Where
Yes.
you knocked down so many doors, like not even like open, like
Right.
you are here, and I love it, right? But
Yeah.
how did you find that on your own in a space where they didn't have
I
supports
think
like you?
I think like I'm incredibly lucky to have parents that they treat me like I was saying earlier. For me, I never grow up by thinking I
Hmm.
cannot do this. It never entered my mind. That's why back to the think about the imposter syndrome. Like,
Yeah.
what is that? I had to have my wife explaining to me because I couldn't understand it.
What?
Like,
I need that. But I'm seeing why. Like, I love this approach, right? Like, there's an idea. You know what you do, you know how to work towards it, and you trust your capability. There's no language in which
yes.
you have the internal dialogue. Because if you hear from others, you
Hmm.
start saying it to yourself, right? Like, you tried.
Right.
No, you don't say that.
Hmm.
You're like, get back up. You
Of
want
course.
this, you do it.
Yes. Yes. And then for me, like what happened, it was like keep going and keep going, like, and
Mhm.
being there at that table.
Yeah.
And to me it was totally normal, and then I find myself even in my life after racing to continue to have those kind of position at the table
Hmm.
with men and then being the only woman there. And then I started this quest by say, this is not right at all. We don't need to take away men from that table.
Hmm.
We just need to build a bigger table.
Yes.
Just that, like so. a bigger table. We have space.
Mhm.
Come on in, like, because we can learn so much from everybody, like, and that's when disrupting technology, disrupting movement happens, is when we include everybody. Because if we just have a certain category of people making decision, it's gonna always be the same decision, and
Yes.
nothing is gonna change. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. It benefits everyone to have more individuals at the table. So let's talk about this, right? So now you've made a phenomenal name for you in your sport, right? Like motocross will never be the same because of you. But now
Hmm.
you've decided to say, let's take a look at esports, right? So we've got sim
Yes.
racing here. How did you go from this, right? A very
All right, it's a story that at the end it come full circle,
okay.
like, because of this. So I'm gonna start with why it makes full circle, and then tell you why I got into it. Why make full circle is because I opened a company that does sim racing, right?
Yes.
And in my career in motocross, I have been in 2 video games. So as a character, so for me back then when I was young, I was not playing games because I was so busy training for my sport, but I thought it was pretty cool to be into video games
Yeah.
with my name and my character and all of that, right? So it was a fairly cool, but then I didn't, like, realize until later on when I saw this opportunity. Then, like, oh, see, life comes full circle. So
Yes.
I had to be in games to get back and work in the gaming industry. So
That seed was planted early.
yes. So this is what happened for me. So
Okay.
early 2020, just before really the pandemic exploded. So it was
Mhm.
like 2019 to 2020. I was in Italy visiting my family.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I saw my niece that she was spending 2 or 3 hours a day watching people play video games. Okay.
Mhm.
So up to the point, my only experience in video games was, again, being a feature character in 2 games, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, what is going on here? Like, why the younger demographic is spending so much time
Mhm.
in this way, right? Not
Yes.
just playing, but like watching, playing video games. Like, so I'm like, okay, so this is an entertainment.
Mhm.
So it's a way to digest entertainment. They similar to what you do in sport, but it's different because it's digital.
Yes.
Like, yes, in esport we do have the in real life events, but like, it's driven by the digital side first,
Mhm.
right? So I'm like, hmm. So I'm part of a industry which is motorsport that
Yes.
is male dominated,
Right.
okay? And being male dominated, it's also tend to be expensive. So again, one category of people can
Mhm.
afford to be in these sports,
Mhm.
right? And on top of that, is becoming older and older because young kids don't have the funds to be able to get involved into that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so maybe here we
Yes.
can meet the kids where they are, right?
Mhm.
And so I decided to open Init Sport, which our slogan is "Be in it," so be part of something, right?
Yes.
And first, I lean onto the motorcycle world because it's what I knew the best.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ended up going to the AMA, which is the American Motorcycle Association.
Okay.
The American Motorcycle Association is the one that generate all the racing,
Mhm.
in the United States,
Mhm.
professional and amateur, and also like talks with Washington in regards to rights for motorcyclists, right?
Okay.
But again, as an organization, a governing body, they need more kids because otherwise, like, it's an expensive sport. Like all the reason I said, if you don't get a new generation come in, what's gonna happen? It's gonna die.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. They're ready to invest. Like, how do we get involved?
right. And as soon as I told them what gaming could potentially do,
Yes.
by meeting people where they are, they didn't even blink once and they say, "You are now the esport promoter for anything in regards to the AMA."
Congratulations. Free card, just do
Yes.
anything. Go, please. But I
So
love
I'm
that,
like,
right? Like, because so many
yes,
times we hear video games and it's like, what? But the fact they heard you out, which is good, right? We love an
yes,
organization that hears out new ideas. And then once they hear it, they're like, yes, we're all in. I love that kind of support.
right. And also, like, I've always been authentic to myself and
Hmm.
always driven with the passion. For them was a no-brainer,
Yeah.
like, Steffi, you want to do it? We know you're gonna succeed. So here, go.
Yes.
You
As
know?
Kristen says, boss moves. Like you were ready for this. But you, again, you went to them, right? They weren't opening like,
Yes.
what do we need?
Again,
You're like, I've got a plan, solution. Here's the
and,
mountain. We're roller coastering around this.
and it goes back also to the point I was making earlier about asking.
Yeah.
So, I went there and I say, I think I have a solution from a problem that on the industry that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. But if I were gonna just keep it in my head and think about, I don't know. I mean, it's the AMA. Are they gonna, you
Yeah.
see what I'm going with
Who's
that,
going to
right?
listen, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, no, they're gonna listen because this is a good idea,
Yes. Yes.
and sure enough, they did, and it went, and now we are having these events, and it's good. We don't have simulator for motorcycles, so it's very
Mm-hmm.
limited in some ways,
Yeah.
but it's good. In the same time, though,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, this is good. It's going. We have this agreement. We're gonna continue to do it. Perfect. What else can we do to bring more women? I'm always like searching for
Yes.
something more,
You're
and
always
that's
hungry.
incredibly important. Always, they never give up, always to go, to reach again until it's 50-50 is not equality, right? So
Exactly.
keep going, keep going. So I just pivoted a little bit and say, okay, then we have a 2020 that happened where the world ended,
Yes.
right? And at that point, we had Formula One. For the ones out there that knows what is Formula One, it's like car racing is like the top of car racing in the world. That since nobody could play any games or like sport games, they needed to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So what they ended up doing, because they had the Formula One game, they got the official professional driver now to play with anybody and anyone out there. That was magic, because what happened is like all of a sudden the 2020 pandemic put on their plate what it is about creating fan engagement
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
It happened like that,
Yeah.
right?
And they just
And
light
that
up
was
like, yeah, of course I'm going to try to take a chance. Why not? Right? It gets people
exactly.
so excited. That's the passion that you're like, it spreads. It's contagious.
Yes, and also is the way to bring those idols, in whatever industry, we
Mhm.
have this misconception the idols are there and they're untouchable.
Mhm.
Not true. Not true. And one of the things that we are doing, and you will continue to learn throughout this time that we're going to be speaking, is that we are bringing all the idols here so that everybody that is here can be at the same level and have a good time together. Because one day, the person is here now can become this person and has to remember that, yes, you're going to go up there because fame does that. But then it's good also to be down here, to
Mhm.
be with everybody, because again it's the power of unity and be all together that we're going to make changes.
You
So
say all this, and also let's note you live this out, like because you
yes.
you are top tier. I was gonna raise my people can't see it then, right? So like it's more than this, but this is the top of my camera, right? You are top tier, right? But you live
Yeah.
out and saying, I want to continue reaching out. You come back and look at that unity time and time again to say, I want more people to be with me on this, and I love
hmm
that.
that's why I'm always jumping in the Discord sometimes,
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's all the community, but I want to hear from the community, and I'm
yeah.
here, I'm a person, ask me question, so I'll go into the Init community for that, and I see that everybody appreciate it,
hmm Well,
but
yeah.
this is still like a go ahead, sorry.
No, no, absolutely. It shows also how invested you are in this space. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you'll see people or owners of things that, like they see it as an investment financially, but they don't see
No,
the
but you can
heart.
do, you have to be authentic. Otherwise,
Hmm
kids nowadays they're gonna discount you immediately if you're not authentic. And
Yeah.
and I appreciate that. It's
hmm
a way to stand up for what you believe and what you want. So yes, keep doing this, kiddos, because
hmm
it's important. But at the same time, I do this and I act like this, right? But you see, I have spoken, with marketing manager that they were completely out of their mind when I say, you need to talk to the people. You need to talk to the people that they are your community.
hmm
You really need to talk to them. You're not can put like a marketing campaign out there and hope they works.
Yeah.
If you have not talked to them, how do you gonna know that it's gonna work? And
Exactly.
for some people, this is like, what? we need to speak. It's like, oh my God, like
I don't just
it's
open a
like
Discord and people show up and then, yeah. Nope.
it's crazy. But again, I feel lucky because I run with passion, I run with authenticity. So,
Mhm.
opening Init Esport was my way to bring back, like a way to build that bigger table. So
Mhm.
with the sim racing part, we I'm proud to say that we have three events that we did, big events, and now two of them are kind of like merging together. And I want to touch base on all of this
Yes.
and tell you how they're gonna continue to scale. The very first event was the first one I did,
Mhm.
for sim, and we called that Race Me. Okay.
Okay.
So what happened with this was 2020. So
Mhm.
everybody was in lockdown in the house. But having, I guess, the street creds that I'm a professional
Yes.
athlete,
Mhm.
I was able to call up a few other female professional athletes and say, would it be cool to get six of you together, like with representation,
Yes.
like, and then get you to race on a simulator. By the way, I'm going to ship you the simulator. You have to build it. So,
The first challenge.
yes. So, not only I got Hope Solo from soccer, I got Aerial Power from the WNBA, I got Oksana Master, like a 14-time Paralympian, I got Liv Morgan from the WWE, I got Madison Hammond, that she is the first American, Native American woman
Mhm.
to be a professional soccer player, Madison Hammond, a hockey player. So everyone was represented in this lineup, right? So anybody that was
Wow.
watching that, they can see, oh, I can identify myself, right? And that was
Yes.
fantastic. But the thing is, like, they had the blast because sim racing is relatable.
Yes.
Everybody's been in the car.
Mhm.
So if I was gonna ask everybody, hey, why we don't do this thing is pandemic, let's go, let's play CS:GO. They're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
Play play what?
Yeah. How do I
Like,
use the controller? Yeah, that's a different thing.
right.
Yes.
But a car is relatable, and that's why it's powerful, because not only, now even in the business side, not only it's relatable to everybody you speak to, but
Mhm.
now it makes sense to the parents and the grandparents what esport can be, because you put them in a simulator and they're going to have a blast. Where if you have grandpa play Fortnite, they're going to be like, what is going on the screen, right? Or Valorant or whatever,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah. They don't know.
But
They
you
don't know
can
how to follow. But yes,
but you
racing.
can put a grandpa or a grandma in a simulator and they're going to have a blast, like, and then you take away all the barrier of generation too,
Yes.
because now it becomes a family thing that you can play all together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's impactful. So Race Me was very cool because we were able to achieve the fact that we had fan of soccer now learning about Oksana, fan of WNBA learning about hockey, and Liv, she's from the WWE, so you can only imagine,
Yeah.
the group that she brought
The
in.
personality, the energy, but you're helping them not only share and give them new experiences, but to network with each other too.
Yes. Yes, network with each other, grow their personalities and their character in area that they would not have otherwise reach.
Mhm.
And it was super good. And there are going to be more about Race Me, but that was the first thing with zero budget. And again, it's not because there was no budget I said that is impossible. I
Mhm.
just, built the plane while I was flying it. Why not? You know what I
It's
mean?
safe, 100% guarantee. But it adds pressure, right? Like while you're flying, you're like, we have to make this work.
Yes, we had to. And
Mhm.
again, like when you surround yourself with people that they are there, they have a passion with you,
Yeah.
it's never a big ask, meaning like, we want to do this all together. What can I do?
Yeah.
And that's very important. You need to always find people around you that they tell you, what can I do? Not
Mhm.
like, oh, I have to do this also. Yeah, so that means like they're not good for your peer group. They
Yes.
might be good for other, but that's not where they have the passion, right? So,
Mhm.
like,
That's a
just
special need,
find.
a very unique
Yes.
mentality in this particular space because you're right. You have to. And there's so much, especially with starting new ideas. You want to open doors, you can't just wait till everything is right. You can't lay all the pieces out and continue to plan and plan because it will not be built. You're always going to be
No.
missing just something, right?
Mhm.
But you need it enough. Get it flying. Get
Yes.
it at least
And
up.
also, you can look at it in this way. It's always a good day when you learn something. And you need to continue to do stuff to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not doing it, guess what? You're not learning.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yes.
to me, it's like, yes, keep doing it, keep going. There are going to be mistakes. You are allowed to fail. It's okay. Learn from that so you can be better next time.
Yes.
Like keep
Exactly.
pushing. So yeah, so Race Me was very cool,
Mm-hmm.
in the way that we put it together during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I created this other show called Screen to Speed.
Yes.
And this came together because I made a phone call to a fantastic woman named Victoria Thomas, which she is the owner of the Kelly Moss Porsche race team. So just being a woman owning a team is pretty badass, right?
Yeah.
So, so we just connected again,
Yeah.
like for the
You have the
same
coolest
passion.
friends now.
Well, like, but I seek them
Yeah.
too, like you find the people that they are your people,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
life, like there is so much that can happen in life. So it's better that you surround yourself with positive people that
Mm-hmm.
have your same passion than, wasting your time and stuff that is like, okay, so what, like,
Yes.
why? I don't understand why someone do that, like, okay. But this said, going to Screen to Speed. So Screen to Speed was amazing because the idea was, as you know, because we are in a gaming um, podcast here, like inter vodcast, whatever we
Mm-hmm.
want to call
Yeah.
it. But it's a gaming related, esport related. So that like a third of the world population identifies as a gamer. Every
Mm-hmm.
kind of gamer, including
Right.
phone game, whatever. But that's a big number of people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
half of them are women.
Yes.
Okay, by statistic, that's that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, coming from a male dominated industry, I'm like, oh, that's where we need to go and inspire and pull from. So
Yes.
that's why Init is born, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we did this with a superstar, so we already show that we can reach the superstar, no problem,
Yeah.
the people they are in the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
With Victoria, we came up and say, hey, maybe we can do this screen to speed, meaning from the screen, so
Mm-hmm.
digitally, to speed, to in real life, and start creating a pathway into motorsport by eliminating the barrier of entry. Remember, we talked about it's expensive, right? But if you
Yes.
do it digitally, like now is a fraction of a cost than having a go-kart and then tires and gas and track days and all of that. Like you can do it digitally,
Mm-hmm.
and there are simulator games good enough nowadays that you
Yes.
can practice on them, and you can do exactly the same testing that you will do in real life.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that you take away is the fact you don't have the G-force
Yeah.
and the 200-mile-an-hour wind on you. But like if you really try that good and you are
Mm-hmm.
that good in that sport, if you go into the real car, you're gonna have much less difficulties than somebody that
Yes.
starts brand new.
Yes. You can
Okay.
hone the other skills.
Yes,
That's the key thing.
absolutely.
Yes.
Hmm. So we decided to create Screen to Speed with the
Mm-hmm.
goal to invite as many female and non-binary person in the world,
Mm-hmm.
right, that they wanted to participate online. So
Yeah.
we ran that from December 2022 until February 2023.
Okay.
Okay, we got I got 1,500 girls signing up.
That's amazing. Especially for the
Yes,
very first time. Like that's a
yes,
great sign up. Oh
yes.
my gosh.
And then we took the top 15 of
Yes.
them and
Yes.
we brought them to Las Vegas to race on simulator,
Yes.
while the NASCAR event was happening around them. So they were racing the same track digitally while the NASCAR is happening around them. Okay. For some of them, was the first time they even took a plane, let alone coming to Las Vegas. So thinking about impact,
Talk about
like
opening doors, new
exactly.
experiences.
Exactly. So, like, all of these girls now, they are my family. Like, they are all part of the community because we wanted to continue to help each other
Yes.
because of the impact that we demonstrated that we can create, right?
Yes.
So now the winner of the event, by the way, was streamed live on Twitch, and we got between Twitch and all of the sponsors that we got involved with
Mhm.
this, we got more than 1 million impression on the first time show. So this is like pretty impressive, I would say. Like,
That's being humble, okay? Let's be the champions that we are. Like you it's a fantastic turnout. That is huge
yeah,
and amazing, and it's great that it made not only the impact of those 15 individuals that you brought in, right? Talk about opening doors, giving exposure,
yes,
new experiences, but it also set an inspiring bar to others to
hmm
be like, that's amazing. I want to know when they're doing it again because I want to see myself
yes.
there.
Indeed, indeed, and we're gonna continue to do them. So I'll make announcement later.
Yeah.
But yes, but the thing is, like, remember, it's called Screen to Speed.
Mhm.
So the person that won, which is this woman from Ireland, her name is Saoirse.
Mhm.
She's now coming back in the beginning of June to Las Vegas on the same track to test in a Kelly Moss Porsche race car, which Victoria was the one that said, this is an incredible idea. Let's bring more women into motorsport. So, you see? So now, like, all of a sudden we are giving a chance to a female to be in a race car seat,
Yes.
which will never be able to get it otherwise, like, because of how the industry work.
Mhm.
So little by little, we are changing the industry, right? We are making differences, right?
Yes.
So super happy with Screen to Speed. We are having requests to do Screen to Speed in many different category of motorsport now.
Yeah.
Like, but then, like, I connected just after Screen to Speed and the success with another incredible woman. Her name is Nikki Daly,
Mhm.
and she is a former Olympian.
Mhm.
So she's a field hockey Olympian, and we connected because we have the same passion, passion find passion, right?
Yes.
And she has been running in Ireland a program called Formula Female. So this program, what it does, brings STEM activity,
Mhm.
motorsport related, into schools in Ireland. Okay,
Yes.
and then she can teach, math and physics and engineering, like technology on motorsport activity, hands-on, right?
Yes.
And then provide a pathway for girls to go into either motorsport university or into the motorsport industry, right?
Mhm.
The piece missing was the esport part and the sim. So now we came together
Yeah.
and we created Sim for STEM. Okay.
That name is very nice. I don't know who's been titling all this for you all, but nicely done. All right.
Yes.
That's an art form in and
It's
of
just
itself.
like, but it's again, it's like, ah, what about Screen to Speed? And like, yeah, that sounds good. So,
But that's okay, let's be clear. Like
but
we
it's
say this,
literally too,
having a
it's
catchy name
important.
makes catchy name makes people want to talk about it. It helps people remember
Also,
it
the
because
logo. I'm
yeah.
just gonna plug it 1 second.
Yes. No, put it up there. I love that.
Yes.
Because people, you want it to be cool so people remember it and want to talk about it. Because if you don't remember the
Right.
name, you're never going to be able to talk about it.
Yes. So Sim for STEM, again, literally, screen to speed from the screen to
Yes.
in real life. Sim for STEM,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually, we ran this program first time here in the US this month of May in Indianapolis. So I'm in Indianapolis. This is not my house. This is the Airbnb I'm staying. So I'm not a sailor. So the thing you see back here is not me.
In a few hours, or a few minutes, we'll hear the dinging sound of
Yes,
the local
exactly.
clock.
Indeed. So yeah, so like a sim for STEM, what we did for it
Mhm.
was to really combine her program, so STEM activity, motorsport related, bring it here in the US, and then what the girls learn on the program, then apply in the simulators.
Yes.
This is because is like, yes, we got 1,500 people sign up for Screen to Speed, but
Mm-hmm.
how we get more?
Yeah.
Now we are going into schools,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Sim for STEM, what it did, it was able to accomplish as a first program ever. We got high school students from the Indianapolis area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they come to Dallara, which is a manufacturer that makes chassis for the Indy 500. For every Indy car that rides in the US, as a frame, a chassis built by this company,
Mm-hmm.
which is here in Indianapolis. They were incredibly kind to give us the opportunity to run the show there. Okay,
Okay.
so what happened was this: like, we got different high school, all girls.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for women by women. So all girls came from different schools together. We got nearly 200 of them, okay, where they did STEM activities, like motorsport related. They
Mm-hmm.
learn about the racing line. The racing line is the fastest way around the track. But they think we make them calculate it with a compass, which a lot of girls they didn't know. So I don't know if you're listening that you know what a compass is, but it's an instrument
Yeah.
that helps making perfect circles, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Yes. Where you stick
this
it in.
instrument, not the one about
Yeah.
northwest,
I was
south,
like,
not
okay,
that one.
yeah. And then you can,
The
yeah.
one, yeah, it's as a point and then as a pencil on the other side, but then you can use it to make a perfect circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to calculate the fastest line on the track, the bigger the radius of the circle, the bigger is the line. So it's
Right.
all about flattening the line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, more is wider the line, more faster, more speed you can apply.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the girls are like, oh, so that's what you do with math. So it was magical because you see something, and then what they learn, we put them on the simulator and say, now find the racing line in the racetrack in the simulator. So now they got to experience it. So,
Mm-hmm.
they build it, they learn it, and then they experience, and now they will have a chance to achieve it. Because in addition to that, like, the top 8, the best 8 that participate,
Mm-hmm.
we brought them to the racetrack to meet female engineer, female mechanic, female drivers,
Mm-hmm.
like female team owner, director of companies, all women. So, like, what they learn, they were able to do it, tested it out on the Sims, and then they came to the racetrack and got to meet the people they are actually doing in real life. And there were two things that happened that were incredibly fantastic, in my opinion, was
Mm-hmm.
this. Another one of the activity was to build a data logger. So we taught them how
Okay.
to build a data logger, which is a sensor where
Yes.
you can attach, all of these cables then to the computer and see what the sensor does. So to make it easy, we did a temperature sensor. So you hold it with your hands and you can see, more
Mm-hmm.
you hold it, hotter it gets.
Yeah.
But then you see the data, in the graph on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
A race car lives on sensor, all the different kind of sensor to learn the temperature of the engine, if there are
It's important to
fraction,
monitor.
exactly, like there is tons of them, on a
Right.
race car, right? So they learn this in the activity. We make them understand how important temperature is in the sim by understanding. Oh, here's the chime. So anyway, sorry about that.
It's
We were
charming.
talking it before we went on the show here, and yes, there is this clock here in this Airbnb that every hour makes a song, and yes, we have to deal with it, but it's gonna end
You're
soon.
gonna miss it
So
when
maybe
you
I
leave.
probably would.
So
So
yes, so
back
they're
to the
thinking the
sensor things,
temperatures, all the data, they're
right?
pulling it in not just from one, but from multiple and seeing what ranges, what's acceptable, what isn't.
Correct, right?
Okay.
So then when we brought the girls to the racetrack
Mm-hmm.
and we did bring them in the garages.
Yeah.
So here come the race car. The mechanic take off the hood of the race car,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the girls say, "Oh, I see the sensor. So what does that sensor do? What does the sensor do?" So all of a sudden, to me, it's like this is proving that the activity that we are doing are so relatable to them.
Yes.
Then when they see in real life, say, "Oh, that's what I just did."
Mm-hmm.
So
They're already applying it and they see themselves as part of the conversation. That's the key thing.
yes,
Right? They're no longer
yes,
just sitting there listening, but they're like, I know that. I can talk
Yes,
about that.
exactly. Exactly. Like, and then we put the engineer there, like, yes,
Yeah.
ask the engineer here. So she can explain exactly, what's going on. So it's like so empowering, to see
Mhm.
the pathway, and the second thing that I want to share that to me, me and Nikki, we were very proud of all of this,
Mhm.
was the fact that the older girl came in as strangers beside their own school, like
You're
where
right.
we paired them different tables. So everybody was with different people and they left as friend. But most importantly, they came in with the phone like this. They put the phone down. It's normal. Everybody
Yeah,
does it.
no,
I
it's
do it
fair.
too. Like
Especially
I
in
do it
new
too. Like,
strange situations.
yes, it's like it's your safe space, right? You
Yes.
go there, like, and you do that. But then, they put it down because we needed to start the program, and there was not one girl that had the urge to look at their phone until we are done. And that for me is like showing that we are doing something that is very cool,
Mhm.
that people and girls, want to participate in, and they
Yes.
capture enough attention, then yes, like they're not distracted by anything else. They just want to be part of this.
Mhm.
So that's what a very, very cool thing that I think we were able to achieve.
I love this because in all of it, you are achieving so many goals, right? You're building communities, you're helping them network both laterally
Yes.
and vertically, right? Because you need both. You need both,
Yes.
right? You,
Hmm.
you need all that's the support system that's coming through across the board. They're seeing themselves in these places. It's multi layered in the learning experience, right? And you're opening doors, they're getting
Yes.
excited about it, right? I love that it's so multifaceted in what you're able to achieve in this space. And I think that's why we see the success that it is because you're not just
Yeah.
thinking like very narrow of what does this need to look like. You're like, we can get so much done here.
Yes, and I mean it is narrow in the way there is motorsport because that's my
Yeah.
passion.
Yeah.
But again, like follow your passion.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not for everybody. I'm not saying that now everyone is gonna want to become a race car driver or an
I don't
engineer.
know. I'm kind of sold now.
But at the same time, like just
Mhm.
like the gamers are building a community, we are also building a community. And then in
Yes.
there, like we are, because of the bridges that we already have in motorsport,
Mm-hmm.
like now we're already going to bring more and more female engineering and mechanic
Mm-hmm.
and broadcaster related to motorsport in our Discord. So each girl can ask question to them, like
Yeah.
just like we are doing right now, like in this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that a question are gonna come, sooner or later from the people in the chat.
Yes.
So
If you all have questions, write them out. Write them out, and we'll
yes,
pull them in. Right. But that's a key thing, right? What are the spaces that we're creating? And I love like you're okay. So you're really into the motocross, but what you're building is a structure, right?
yeah,
You could take this into soccer, right?
yes,
We've
yes,
got plenty of soccer video games, right? How getting involved, getting connected when we're thinking about how we can put this into play, how it still connects with science, right? There is,
yes.
I don't, some of us don't
I
always
mean,
pay attention to this, but there is science in soccer,
yes, yes. I
right?
guess I'm a little bit biased for the motorsport aspect because
Sure.
in reality, you can have a little bit of pushback from traditional soccer
Yes.
because it's not that you can find a a video game player that plays FIFA or
Yeah.
eFootball and put that person into a top
Hmm.
football team, soccer team. It
Yes.
doesn't really
Doesn't,
happen.
it's
But
entertaining
it
though.
yes, but it does in racing.
Yes.
So much so that there is the movie
Hmm.
coming out, like from Gran Turismo.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. The actual, yeah, right. Pulling this from it.
Hmm.
And you do also have the benefit that you're right in the controls itself. More people are familiar with racing, like the
Yes.
being behind the wheel. You understand the pedals, right? There's maybe some additional features in
There
it,
are different
but
additional
it's
things to
not,
go fast, but
it's still within a range of learning. Like there's familiarity and then we grow versus this is
mhm,
all new. What am I doing
right.
here? So,
Indeed, indeed. That's why we think again, maybe because we are biased, but I think that that's why it's very cool and
mhm,
it can be used in so many different ways. Another aspect that we see that we love a lot is that it's very good for accessibility.
mhm,
So, like somebody that has a disability, whatever kind of disability, that can be a physical disability, or it can be more toward like the mental disability. I mean, we have read a study where they say the kids that are highly autistic,
Mm-hmm.
like they will dream one day to drive a car,
Yeah.
which if they are highly autistic, most likely it's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because, there is so many things that you can control,
Right.
when you are in the real road. Guess what? You can race a car on a simulator
Mm-hmm.
and it's safe.
Yes.
One of the things I like to say even to parents, don't worry about it. They can crash a Lamborghini. You don't have to pay for it. It's all.
Exactly, right? Low risk. But that's what we love about video games is that these are
Yes.
spaces for us to play in, to test
Hmm.
ourselves, to try new things. That's the beauty of being here
Yes.
versus like yes, having to pay for an actual like Lamborghini.
Exactly. And also we care a lot about, like to vet the community too. So
Yes.
like every time we play like our tournament, we use Gamer Safer. Gamer Safer is a verification software
Mhm.
that helps to make sure that the person that say they is the person is that person. It's maybe like a little bit
Mm.
weird in the way that I say it, but what that does to us is like when we create competition, it's almost like a license, right?
Yes.
So now we know who you are. So you can use your screen name, no problem. But
Mhm.
behind the scene, we know who you are because you
Mhm.
are verified. So guess what? If you start acting inappropriately, like it happens when you go too fast in a car in the street, you get points on the license and then you take the license be turned. Same thing can happen in real
Yes.
racing. We know who you are. So if you don't behave correctly, you're gonna get punished for it, which is
Mhm.
just like another lesson that is similar to real life, right? And
Right.
for us, that is incredibly important because we care or continue to have a very safe environment,
Mhm.
open to anybody and everybody. And therefore, it's important to put those check and balances in from
Right.
our side as the promoters of those kind of events.
And I'm glad you thought of that because safety is a huge issue and why a lot of women
Yes.
choose not to go into esports in general. Like the commentaries you get, you don't know who you're talking to, harassers can come in there,
Yep.
hackers. It isn't always a welcoming environment. So to have that verification is good. And especially if you're working with younger ages as well.
Yes.
You want
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that it is an environment that isn't damaging. And there's nothing that ruins a community and a game more than if you have cheaters, if you have terrible players
Exactly.
that come in
Mm-hmm.
that hurt the spirit of the game.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So we looked at that too, and we made sure that that was in place since the very beginning.
Good. Good. And I love that. But that is an easy oversight. The process of creating safety guidelines from the beginning is oftentimes a second thought. But to
Right.
integrate it in from the beginning, that's a process, right? It's an extra
Hmm.
level, it's another verification process. And sometimes people don't like to do that. But for those who want the security, it's always worth it. For those of us, we
Yes.
love it.
Yes. But really, in reality, I was
Hmm.
a little bit afraid about the time taking, because
Yeah.
we all hear, like, oh, if you have a person attention, it has to be 3 clicks, otherwise you lose their attention.
Yes.
It is true, but like in a community, once you do something that is for them,
Yeah.
an extra 30 second is not going to kill anybody.
Hmm.
So if you are not willing to invest the 30 second, it's probably not the community for you.
Hmm. Yes,
Like
but
that's
that's
what I.
smart. And you're right, because that is like every extra step, you're likely to lose them, right? But
Mm-hmm,
that's the key thing. This is where you're trying to pull in individuals who are passionate, who align
mm-hmm,
with these values. You're like, yes, you know what? 30 more seconds, or I go through this verification process, that's worth it because this
mm-hmm.
benefits me.
Yes. Indeed, exactly.
So I love that. I
So,
think that's a smart idea because, okay, so let's also talk about this because esports in general, right, be known to be toxic, can be
mhm,
difficult, and also the challenge with esports because there's no set overall governing body for esports, right? The tournaments
mhm,
are dependent on sometimes the tournament runners, sometimes the game owners are a little involved, sometimes here or there. And
mhm,
you're working with inconsistencies in terms of standards or ethics and rules. You're also looking at age groups. So even on your own,
mhm.
right, as a professional, you were a professional at 17.
Yes.
I was not at 17 professional at anything. I mean, because let's first go in the position of seeing it from your eyes as a professional. Like being at 17, being a professional, like that's a lot to bear at a very young age. That's before 18. So here in the US, there's a lot of things you
Yes.
can't do.
Yeah, but like again, for me is
Mm-hmm.
it was okay, even though I had those times that were difficult with
Yeah.
schools, like with my group of schools.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was driven by passion, so nothing were gonna change my mind on that. So, like
Sure.
I I just went for it. Like
Mm-hmm.
no excuses, never give up, and just do that, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like I knew my place, I knew where I belong. Again, it never crossed my mind that I didn't belong,
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Of
yeah, of
course. Here's
course,
where I am. Yeah, you
yes.
all should have been waiting for me. What's going on with this?
Right, exactly. And again, like it counts with the confidence. And I think I got molded like that
Mm-hmm.
also because I had success at such an early
Yeah.
stage in my life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like if you win and you work hard, like it comes with it, like you
Sure.
continue to build. At least like anybody that plays any kind of tournament, if you continue to win, you're gonna be like, yeah, good. Like next time you go in the tournament, it's like there's nobody's gonna beat me, right? So it's confidence building,
Yeah.
like that comes, and for me happens and mold me very early age,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it continue, like throughout my life. But this said, everybody should really choose what makes them wake up in the morning, go for that,
Yes.
like and don't be afraid. There are gonna be people that are gonna tell you, oh no, what you're doing, who you think you are, whatever. Is like that's not something for girls, for
Mm-hmm.
instance. Just brush it off. Those are the people that don't belong with you in your
Yeah.
life. So like when somebody is negative toward you, the only thing that means is like they don't belong in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Try to grasp to that, and if you make your brain pull out that from, one of the compartments and say, okay, this person is negative, immediately it's going to be perfect. I know
Yeah.
I don't need this person or this comment.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to continue to grow and build that confidence. So then all of these things, they're going to be just, side noise, and I wanted to bring out this thing because some of you maybe knows about this person, but many of you probably don't.
Mm-hmm.
So there is one of the best Formula One race car men,
Okay.
in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Is His name is Lewis Hamilton,
Okay.
and he is a black guy,
Mm-hmm.
and is the only black guy in the circuit. Okay,
Ooh,
so
that's a lot of
male
pressure.
dominated sport, yes, and is a winner, right? And
Yeah.
just yesterday, he put out on his Instagram like how he deals with negative. This is a superstar, so he's
Yeah.
a millions and millions and millions of people
Who's telling me
following
he
him.
can't, right? Because he's clearly done it. But there are people who feel
But
entitled.
totally, they critics is the way they dresses and all of this, and it was very cool that he was reading these things, and his reaction is exactly the same that I told you right now. Okay, that's your opinion. Next,
Yes.
what I mean.
Move on. Don't let it have
So
any
no,
headspace.
don't let it impact you.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Learn, because there is always a learning lesson. But
Yes.
if is a negative connotation,
Mm-hmm.
that is probably a jealousy or wanted to be artful,
Mm-hmm.
hateful. So therefore, you don't need that. You don't, trust me. You don't need that in your life. There is
Yeah.
so much that we can dedicate to stuff. Don't waste your time on that. You
Yes.
know what I
Yes.
mean?
Well, because we talk about that passion being energy that we spend, it can be
Yes,
spent on the wrong things too. Sometimes we can
that's
spend
right.
it on battling voices that we don't need to battle.
Exactly. But if you do have those voices, it's okay though, like, but ask and lean on somebody,
Yes.
because you're not alone,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore there are people out there that can help, you know. In reality, we are all human beings, and the most beautiful thing in the world is to help each other. Trust me. Like maybe if you're young, you don't get that yet, but as soon as you started to grow older, you will see that the most beautiful things an individual can do is helping another individual.
Mm-hmm.
It comes
That's
back tenfold.
it's wisdom. It's wisdom, right?
Mhm.
Being able to provide that. Now, you work, of course, going into schools with a lot of
Yeah.
younger individuals. What is something that you see you're like, I wish I could convey, like as every time they come through and they interact with one of our events, like this is what I always hope for them, that they come out with something this.
Well, if I will have again, to be toward me, I wish they come out say, I want to become a race car champion. Like, that will
Fair.
make me
Okay.
very happy because again, like when in this Formula One,
Yeah.
like
I
I
should
was
have seen
telling
that
you, is
coming.
yeah, is the pinnacle, of motorsport.
Sure.
There is no women in there, and it's a
Yeah.
very elite sport. Only 20 seats are available, so only 20
Wow.
cars. But
That's like
again,
nothing. 20 out of like when we look
I,
at this
I get it, I get
international.
it, I get it. But they all everybody keeps talking about how important it is diversity and inclusion.
Mhm.
There is stuff that can be done there,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, and I know for a fact that there is a woman out there that can do it.
Mhm.
It's just mathematic,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
There's the
yeah,
odds. Someone.
right, like so
Yeah.
it's just providing this pathway to
Mhm.
make it more accessible and put it in. So
Mhm.
anybody that comes to our event, one thing is definitely believe in yourself. We hope that by the end of it, you
Mhm.
feel like that you can be part of this community and a family. And for me, it's like I always compliment everybody that takes the first step, because now that they did the first step, now know that there is an army of women behind you. They're
Mhm.
going to continue to step and march with you every step of the way.
Mhm.
So, but you need to take that first step. Like nobody can do it by you. you
Yes. I
know
mean, and you're right, right? Like if we want to lean into this, like you can lean on others, but
yes,
ultimately it's you that has to take those steps. We can hold you up, but
absolutely.
moving forward is your choice.
Hmm. That's correct. That's beautiful. Yes.
And I love it because I mean you all have been so thoughtful in this process. You are thinking about the emotional approach behind this, the psychological development of individuals, both young, teens, anywhere on this level,
Anywhere.
grandparents, right? As
Yeah.
they can play and engage this, right? How, in terms of accessibility and finances, international, I mean, all of this, right? Of being able to open doors behind this, being able to network across the board on multiple levels. You're providing in person and online experiences. Like, this is thorough. How do you go through and make sure that I mean, right? Because we've seen it time and time again that there have been events
Hmm.
that weren't thorough, right? They didn't have
Yeah.
any rules of the tournament, or they didn't think about, like, oh, yeah, we're going to invite 8 people here. What if they can't afford to fly here, right? Well,
Hmm.
there are small gaps where that happens. How did you all make sure that you didn't have those gaps?
Well, like a few things. First, you need to have a sponsor that can also believe in the program.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, there are fundings behind. Like the Screen to Speed program was completely 100% funded by Pennzoil and Ford,
Woo.
and therefore we were able to nobody pay anything.
Mm-hmm.
All the flights, everything, like the treatment there,
Yeah.
everything was like top notch, and they got the experience of their life,
Mm-hmm.
which is important, like to really uh, eliminate the barrier, like
Yes.
another thing we do for with the sim for STEM is just again, like a simulator can be expensive,
Mm-hmm.
like but now we figure out a way to teach the girls how to build their own steering wheel and pedal. So for $20 you can build the steering wheel and pedals and play. So barrier entry
Yeah.
done, gone. Like, and then like everything, like you can continue to progress, and
Mm-hmm.
like in anything in life, once you get better, you want better equipment. So there is a pathway there, but
Yes.
there is no more excuses. Oh, I cannot do it because I can't afford it. You can afford $20,
Yes.
like and
Yes.
build the simulator. We have an
Mm-hmm.
amazing relationship with iRacing.
Mm-hmm.
That anybody that participate to our thing and you are a female or identify as a
Yeah.
female, you get a membership for free.
Yes.
So here, you don't even have to spend for the money for the game. So really, like taking it all away, but
Mhm.
it doesn't come like, oh, I just know it all. It
Yes.
comes, it comes with experience. Like I can tell you that there is a lot of things they could have done better, in all the events that we've done right now.
Sure.
But like
Well, because
this is
you're
stuff
building the
that
plane
happens
as you're flying, right? So like
exactly.
there's going to
Like
be some holes where like, okay, we need to fill this in next time. Maybe we'll add
yes.
seats next time inside the
Yes,
plane.
exactly. Like, but we try to be as true as possible, like,
Yes.
and how we do it is like to put ourselves in the position. So
Mhm.
again, is to meet the people where they are. So
Mhm.
we talk and we listen,
Yeah.
so we go in our Discord and we ask, okay, how can we do it better?
Mhm.
Like, and then the community says it, like, hey, have you thought about this? Like, and where it's feasible, we put it in there. And when it's like completely out of the word idea,
Mhm.
like, let's think on that. And then let's apply it maybe a year or two from now,
Yes.
like for me personally, I've been told that I'm a very much like a visionary.
Mhm.
So I tend to see always a project like 3-4 years in advance, right?
Mhm.
Like I know that this happens today, but I already know what I wanted to land, the plane that we're building. I know
Yes.
what is the landing strip, like in 3-4 years from now. This is a quality, I guess, that I have because I
Yes.
don't know why, I just have it. But
Well, you had it from 6 years old, right? Like, but but that's important, right? Because when you're building a plane, you need to know what it's built for. There are different
hmm
types of planes, right? Or the
correct.
direction that you're heading. You only have so much
hmm
gasoline. You need to know where you're going because let's be real. Yeah, it's great. Like I love hearing like Pennzoil, Ford, AMA, like all these organizations like yes, we're all on board. But at the end of the day, there's still budgets. There's
Yes,
also still
exactly.
time limits, right? There's still
hmm
only, so many people can offer so much, right? There's going to be
hmm
caps. So when you're doing this, you have to still work within confines and be like, here's where we're going. I know where we're
Right.
going. So that way we can still make sure that we get there.
Right. An important component of this is also the community. Like
Mhm.
the community, since it's built for the community, again, it's for women, by women, like the community also need to
Mhm.
come back and say, we are thankful, like to this
Mhm.
brand that they are coming in.
Yeah.
Because remember, like that without the brand's support, we can have the best plan in the world, but if the funding ends,
Mhm.
there is nowhere you can go. And like even a minimum thank you, or like even tonight, I just listened to Steffi and I learned about screen to speed. Thank you, Pennzoil and Ford. That
Mhm.
goes a long way,
Yeah.
like a long way. And then it gives the opportunity to continue to build, like and create this pathway, job opportunities, all for the girls that they have
Mhm.
this interest. And again, it's not for everybody. I'm not expecting everybody now to sign up and wanted to be a racer or get into engineering and motorsport.
Mhm.
But like who knows, maybe you can enter that way, and then go totally different path. Like
Mhm.
some of the director, like the director of motorsport for Firestone, which
Mhm.
is a brand that makes the tires,
Yes.
right? So we brought the girls to the track to meet her. Is a good friend of mine, right? And she's like, I didn't even think about motorsport until I was in my late 30s. And now she's the director of motorsport for Firestone. That is like one of the biggest companies there
Yeah.
is.
That's
So
huge.
that's to say that I knew what I wanted to do at 6.
Yeah.
Lisa didn't know until in her mid 30s, but that didn't stop her,
Mhm.
like to get to the position that she is right now. So
I
again, go.
I'm glad you shared that story because I was like, I might be too old for this, but right, but it's
Nope.
like you're not. You're not
No,
too
you're
old for
not.
this.
Mm-mm.
I love that.
There's never a
Mhm.
time, to put. You're too old if you're not taking the step. Let's put it
Yes.
like that.
Yes. Yes. But that's a mentality. That's not actual
Mhm.
physical age. That's where it comes down to it. I mean, we've said this from the beginning, right? Grandma and grandpa can play. The
Yes,
age does not
absolutely.
matter. Like if you want to get involved, you figure out a way.
hmm
That's the goal. You have your mountain. How do you get around it? Right? How are you
Right.
moving around this particular mountain? And I love that. But even okay, so let's if we're gonna be on that end, maybe they're not gonna go into motocross, right? But I
Or
love that you have the
motorsport.
yeah, or
Like
or
it's
any motorsport. Yeah.
motocross, two wheels. Motorsport is more the umbrella, so
Okay.
encompass four wheel, and two wheels. Let's
Okay.
put it like that.
Motorsport then, right? So maybe they don't go into that
Yes.
route. But I like that you have your motto of women supporting women. And even
Hmm.
though we may not be the one behind the wheel, that doesn't mean we
Correct.
can't go and support and cheer individuals on. Like, or we share the events. Like, hey, I'm not in it, but I've got a niece, right? And she's starting to play.
Exactly.
I'm like, hey, maybe this might interest you, right? Have you ever
Hmm.
considered this? For Christmas, guess who's getting a wheel, right?
Exactly. I
And
mean,
because you
again,
need that, you
like,
need the peripherals. It's
yes.
not just there's
Hmm.
when we think about supporting doesn't mean like it has to be directly impacting me as a benefit, but I see good
Hmm.
things happening and I know how it can help other women. I want to be able to support that.
Yes, and it's incredibly
Hmm.
important, and it can be done in so many different ways.
Hmm.
Like, one of the things I want to put in there is that, because of the success of Screen to Speed,
Yes.
Penzo was kind enough to make those Screen to Speed kits to give away, right?
Yes.
Like, to people, but also, for me, I just always pull for women.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
they signs up as an ally.
Hmm.
Like, like, so they show that, like, we believe for women by women and what is
Yes.
done. So if any of you listening want to get a chance to win a Pennzoil kit, which
Cool.
one of the thing inside is this awesome medal, because we are all about sustainability too. So medal, a water bottle, then there is a T-shirt, and then a squishy toy, like for stress relief.
Which yes.
Sign up just like an ally,
Hmm.
and you might be the lucky winner of the thing, and we just send it to you, ship it to you, and then you can be proud to be part of a movement that is really trying hard to make a very good environment, like the gamers. But
Hmm.
again, we're staying more in our lane of the
Yeah.
motorsport,
Hmm.
but it's still the same concept, like overall.
Yes. And we support each other. And that's the thing. These aren't
Yes.
exclusive. You don't have to choose just one organization, be like,
No.
this is what I'm
Mm-mm.
choosing. You can exist in multiple spaces and see how they grow
Absolutely.
together, right? That's
Absolutely.
that's the beauty of things on this end is that we can support one another. We can see their
Hmm.
excitement. We can feed into their passion along those ends, right? Like, and we
Yes.
understand, like, we're all there for each other on different levels. Like, I will not
Hmm.
be on behind the wheel with you. You wouldn't want me, right? Right? But like there. So what else can I provide? Right? Like so that's the
Right.
question, right? Where else can
Yes.
we? Where can I be where you lean on me for? Right? That's where we can continue to look for those opportunities and provide that. That's where we have community.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, on that note, I lean on all of you listening to become an ally to Screen to Speed. So it can help me, to continue to grow this
Mhm.
pathway.
Yes.
And even if you are not into the motorsport route necessarily, again, you can get a chance to win a very cool water bottle, with a very cool logo on it.
Mhm. Exactly. So tell us,
Yes.
you've had your events underway already. What's next on the
Yes.
horizon for Init
Yes.
and for Steffi?
Right. So for Init, what we are doing next is that we have been asking to create curriculum now
Hmm.
from Sim for STEM,
Yes.
because here in the high school that we were able to involve, now they wanted to adopt this as a year-long curriculum for STEM, right? So motorsport curriculum for that. So we are working now to try to figure out how we
Hmm.
can include that and eventually have this, something that can become worldwide and nationwide, but also worldwide. Because today
Yeah.
we even got two countries in Africa reaching out and say, this would be amazing because we can teach girls STEM,
Hmm.
right? Which, again, like STEM, it's a field that not a lot of girls get in. So
Yes.
now we get an opportunity to do it. By the way, we are also STEM.org certified. So
Yes.
we have all of the certification to do this in the correct way. So by be able to do it in that way, like, I mean, what a cool way to be able to get educated, inspire women all over the world.
Yes. I love
Like,
that.
I love it. I love it. So what's next for us is like creating Sim for STEMs,
Yes.
like as curriculums,
Yes.
which then will develop the opportunity,
Hmm.
hopefully, to create high school Sim for STEM sim racing competition.
Yes.
Okay, like in all over the country, but the world, right?
Hmm.
With the desire of the winner of that to participate in Screen to Speed. And then if you go to screen to speed, you're going to get a spot in a real race car. And with time, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
create real female race car teams.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
We love to
that's the
see it.
pyramid.
There you go. There's your 3 to 5 year vision, right? You're like, I'm planning on
Yes.
it. Here's the investment. We're making this happen. The seeds planted.
Hmm. That's right.
Well, let me ask this. Okay, so now you've been working with the AMA here in the United States. Had a
Yes.
number of events. You're currently in Indy right now. Cute little
Hmm.
Airbnb song singing to you every now and then.
Yes.
Right? 2 countries in Africa saying, "Yes, we're ready for this." Right? So the goal is to eventually make this international.
Yes, yes. So we definitely wanted to make an international. I mean,
Mhm.
like the Sim for STEM part, in a way, started international because
Yes.
it's my friend Nikki that started in Ireland, right?
Okay.
So now, yeah, remember I said it's the
Yes.
Formula Female
Yeah.
concept that she did over there.
Mhm.
So like now we brought it to the United States, but we attached the Sim component. So
Yes.
instead of being motorsport STEM hands-on activity and kind of ends there,
Mhm.
right? We attach the pretty much the testing ground with the sim, right? So you
Yes.
can apply what you're learning in the simulator, and then with that simulator we can create the esport championship for women by women. By the way, I'm just going to drop this in there
Yeah.
that I think is actually very cool and I'm proud of. Init is the only women led and women owned sim racing company in the world. So that's why also it's cool that we have to
Mhm.
come all together to
Yeah.
support this. Like
Here you are, existing solo in this field. You're like, we have to do this.
yes, because again, like it's been done with the guys, and like and
Yeah.
one of my dream, like the movie that we were telling you about, Gran Turismo,
Mhm.
that is a story of a guy that started in sim racing
Mhm.
and then got a spot in real racing, right?
Yes.
And that happened in real life. It did happen. So for me, I'm like, I need to find that woman. Like I need to find that woman,
Yeah.
so we can make a movie for about her.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
But it's gonna happen, right? That's
yes.
the goal.
Hmm.
That's the goal. The investment is being made at this point because you see it. And it can be
Yes.
done. The pathway is now built.
Yes. And for us, it's all about if you can see her, you can be her. So
Yes.
if you get to experience it, then you get to achieve it.
Yes.
So we are bringing all of this concept together, and
Mhm.
hopefully we're going to have, a continual growing community, like, and continue to be part of, the gamers are great friends of ours, like every time we do something, we try to put the gamers, logo there because again, it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Like we might touch, families that go and watch a motorsport event. Like next weekend there is the Indy 500, right? So
Yes.
we are there in the Indy 500,
Mhm.
and maybe there are people there that did not know about gaming,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
But because of what we did, now they said, oh. And then like maybe there is a little girl in there. They're like, yeah, like I don't like racing that much. You bringing me to those races, but I come because you're bringing me.
Yes. Yeah. My older sister
Like
likes this, but me, I do something different.
no, me, I prefer to, like go in the team and play Valorant. Fantastic.
Yep.
Now,
Mhm.
like okay, go into the gamers.
Yes.
You're gonna find somebody there that does
Yes.
this, right? So it's about building those connection, like and
Mhm.
really growing all together in
Yes.
reality.
The point being is that there are organizations out there to support them. It's using these connections that we have to help people get plugged into the places that are going to help support them the most.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely, and then it's so rewarding, and I love it.
Yes. Now, I loved all of this excitement. I love where we're going. What do you see as some of the biggest obstacles or challenges that might be in its sports, right? Like as things start coming up, where do you start to hit walls?
Well, the biggest wall always is funding,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because the world works on money, like so to
Mhm.
continue to grow, you need to get more and more investment. So right now,
Right.
we are trying to do it with our own feet
Mhm.
because you know, I
Yeah,
think,
sure.
it's too early right now to have an exit strategy, right? You see what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
So we are trying to do that, but in the same way, we have a program that works. So therefore, we are able to attract sponsors.
Mhm.
Okay, and because we are creating this pathway and we are directing everybody in one funnel, which is our Discord,
Mhm.
for sponsor, now all of a sudden they get accessibility to that.
Yes.
Right, so having access to that for a company, they scratching their heads and say, how do I engage with a young demographic?
Mhm.
Me,
Right.
me,
Let us
like
help.
no, exactly. So like for us, like one of the hurdles is like
Mhm.
growing too fast and not have the enough financial backing to be able to
Mm,
do what we want to do.
right.
However, we know in life there's better walk before running, because you need to run, even though I kind of contradict myself,
Yeah.
because I built a plane as I'm
Yeah.
flying it.
You're flying, not even
Yeah.
running. We're just skipping to being in the air with your
Right.
journey.
But I have a good support system around me, which is my wife, that
Yes.
sometimes she brings me down, and she says, okay, think about this, a little bit more,
Yes. Yes.
before, jumping off the cliff,
Yeah.
which of course I'm that kind of person, because, like I just don't
Here we
take no
go.
for an answer. I
Yeah.
just go for it. But yeah, like I think some of the hurdles could be that,
Mhm.
like, and then, but whatever is going to come at us, we're going to face it, head on, and, figure out the way on top,
Mhm.
underneath, around,
Yes.
like through the hook on the helicopter, like I said. So, but if anybody is listening and wants to help, just reach out,
Mhm.
and we can try to figure it out how, we can plug you in into these amazing programs, and be authentic. That's what we care about.
Yes.
Like, we don't want to work. This is one thing for sure. And you will hear that from me.
Mhm.
We don't want to work with company just to be the check mark
Yeah.
that, oh, we want to do DEI, so we'll do it with Steffi and our company. I'm like, no, if we're gonna do it with Steffi, we're gonna do it like Steffi's telling you to do it.
Yeah.
you
You're
know?
but you're involved. There's no just signing check.
Yes.
Like you care about this,
Yes.
right? You're a
Hmm.
part of this. Like okay, so you've got like the kit. Now you're putting things out. You're helping us build these connections because you're right. That's what authenticity means. It's
Hmm.
not just signing the check, but it's that you know these issues. You are invested in the people that are here, that you want to make those relationships. And the idea is that it's not just this one-time thing, but we're in it
In it.
together.
Yes. Yes.
But that's the
No pun
challenge.
intended.
Yeah. But I mean, it's intentional. There's a reason why you named it. You want everyone
Yes.
from the
Hmm.
community
I do.
members, from the individuals leading the programs, right? And from the sponsors, everyone is in
Yes.
it. They see the mission, they see
Yes.
the values, they want to invest, whatever that is.
Yeah. And importantly to me is like everyone is around the table.
Yes.
Like, so we all speak with each other, because one thing that I find in life is
Hmm.
like you have to have different mindset. You have to,
Yeah.
because if you want to create disruptive environments,
Hmm.
you need to have different people. There is no
Yes.
any other way around it.
Hmm.
And it's important to listen, to make the smart decision, of course,
Yeah.
but that's when magic happens, when everyone is involved.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't hurt to have great voices that are diverse, that are many,
Yes,
to add to the conversation because that's how you make sure no gaps are missing. That's how you make
correct.
sure perspectives are taken into account, that it's accessible, that it's welcoming, right?
Yep.
That's important to do. And some people might say, well, it bogs it down. And sure, depending on some meetings, you're like, this, I didn't need to be here, right? Like there's sometimes like,
Yeah.
you do it and I'm going to trust you. But it's making sure that the representation is there.
Yes. And my team that works with me right now is
Mhm.
completely like that.
Yes.
Like we run the business in a way that we don't really have a headquarter,
Mhm.
because we live in a digital world.
Yeah.
So everybody, is it's a business that is result driven. So like you're telling me that you're good in doing this particular thing,
Mhm.
you're gonna be part of the team, and you just have to deliver what you said you're good at.
Mhm.
Simple as that, right? And it's all, everybody, anybody, because I believe that it's important to have that diversity.
Yes, it is. It is. And that's why you look for it also in your sponsors to be like, listen,
Yes.
this isn't just your little check where you can put it at the end of your annual report.
Right. Exactly.
But that's important. And you all
Yes.
bleed it through and through in every action that you're doing. And I love that you also open the doors, right, for your community. And because this all, I mean, it's consistent. I love that I can say, like, as you said earlier, I feel like I've said that so many times here in this evening, but that's because it's so clear that your values, your
Hmm.
approach to things.
Hmm.
I talk to my students, like, we've been talking about branding, right? And branding isn't just like looking nice for consistency. It's
Uh-uh.
about knowing your actions. So when it comes to decisions,
Yes.
all of it makes sense. It's always
Yes.
you. And like this is part of it, like, just ask your
Yes.
community.
Exactly.
Sponsors should just ask, like, how can I get involved? What can we do?
Hmm.
You're like, I will
Yeah.
help you. You are ready.
Yes.
It goes both ways. You asking others and
Indeed.
them asking you, because that's
Hmm.
that initial standpoint. You don't know what can
Absolutely.
come from those conversations until you have them.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. This is so good. Thank you so
Yes.
much for having me. I love all of
I know.
this.
I'm so excited. I'm like, let's
Yes.
go to the next event, right? We're all there together. Yeah.
So
Earlier I
we
saw
we don't
someone.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, you
Go
asked me
ahead.
this question. We don't have the list already
Mm-hmm.
of the next event, but I can
Yeah.
tell you that we are trying to work something out with the Formula One in Las Vegas, which will
Okay.
be in November.
Yes.
Then we are trying to work something out with NASCAR more,
Mm-hmm.
like in Charlotte and in Phoenix. But all
Yes.
of this will be back in Q4.
Okay.
So, like, if you want to stay in, because it takes a long time to prepare events at this
Yeah.
level,
Yes.
it's not just, oh, wake up in the morning and do it. The idea starts like that, but
Yeah.
then, like,
Calling
there
people,
is
setting things up. What do we need?
yes,
Sponsors.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So, like, but just follow the community. Like, for us, just put your nose there in Discord, follow the social. We
Hmm.
are a startup, we are small, but we have big ambition, and we know we can do it, like, if we are all sticking together. So we
Yes.
appreciate each one of you that decide to take a look at what we do, and yeah, continue to build. So we will put out information on as they come along on when the next events are going to be, so everybody's going to know.
Well, tell us what are all the platforms? We know you have a Discord, right? You know, you got a Twitter. We
Yes.
know, right? It's in the actual title of our stream right below in it, right? So that way you all
Hmm.
can just click on Init Sports, Esports, goodness, and you can click on
Yes.
unfollow easily, easy peasy. What else? Where else are we at?
So we, of course, for Init Sport, we have all of the classical social media. We just
Hmm.
started TikTok, so like,
Ooh.
it's just new as a brand.
Yes.
Like, so we'll see. Like, how that is gonna go.
Hmm.
Like, but we are all on the major, like, Twitch, of course, Twitter,
Yeah.
not Facebook. Facebook is for older people, right? So IG,
Fair.
and
Fair.
now TikTok, right? So we are all on that, and then me personally, if you want to, follow my crazy adventure, or when I come up and do
Hmm.
things like this, like, it's my name and last name on anything. So Stefy Bau, on all the social. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Awesome.
but like, if you want to learn about the programs, they are linked to unitisport.gg, like the website. However, if you want to
Hmm.
go straight in there, one is screen2speed.com. So screen2to speed.com. And in that one is where you can sign up as an ally to get the pencil kit. And then we have sim4stem.com, which that one is the one that shows what we are doing for the STEM activities. And we just finished the one in Indianapolis. So that is the number 4, stem.com. And then, we were talking earlier about branding, and that is something that, oh, look at this, is S2S,
Yeah.
S4S. And now we're going to see what we're going to continue to come up like that, like, make, like a legacy in a
Yes,
way.
as it keeps going on. You've got the pattern now set up. Again, this is
Yeah.
very fast and furious of you all.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can get away with their weird structure, you all have a much better setup already going out the gate. So you're in a position to win.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I love this, right? And I encourage all of you, if you aren't following here on Twitch, make sure that you're doing so. If you aren't following Stefy on all these TikTok now, right, for Init
Yeah.
Esports, make sure that you're doing it. And this is a process, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about support in any way that's necessary, right? Even if it starts with just a follow of an account, joining a Discord, that's where it begins. So that way, when more information comes out, the next event that you all are going to be at,
Yes,
right? That way you can be informed. That's the key
exactly.
thing. Setting yourself up to know what's going on. I say this all the time to my students. You cannot impact the world if you don't know what's going on in it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
That's
stay
correct.
plugged in. You want to be a part of esports or you want to be a part of women in gaming, you need to make sure you're following the conversations of where that's occurring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for you all, you're like, we're going to make the conversation. No one's talking about it here. So here we are. That is the top tier way of doing it. So way to set the bar higher for the rest of us. Thanks. Thanks. Right?
You're welcome.
But I love that, right? Because that's the energy. We need
Mm-hmm.
individuals like you. We need more Steffys in the world who have this passion. Because I won't lie, I'm drawing upon your energy. I'm like a leech right now. I feel like
but
I've drank a Red Bull and I don't drink caffeine. So like
but also keep in mind, the same thing. It's not that, like I am like that one person,
yes.
like, and nobody else can be like me.
Hmm.
Don't think like that, because
Right.
I tell you, I had to fight this. I know that we are close on time, but I want to
Yeah.
share this story. Like, I had to fight this because in when I was doing my racing career, you
Hmm.
know, being the only woman doing what I was doing at the top
Yeah.
level, more often than not, I got told, "Why should we pay you? You are just Steffi." Like there is never gonna be anybody like that. Yes, it's like what? Like this makes no sense. So that's what I'm saying. Is like even though I'm like that, like you can do it too. And then it's because like continue to do it is that we're gonna change those preconception. Then women, they don't deserve equity because
Hmm.
either there is only one, every 10 years,
Yeah.
or because, like, oh, women's sport is not appealing enough. And now we know what's happening with women's soccer, right?
Yeah. Like say that again.
So
Go ahead.
exactly.
But you're right, right? It's about creating a legacy. This doesn't stand on one person. It can't.
No, it doesn't.
It
Mm-mm.
won't live like that. Others will not buy into it. It's getting more individuals on board. It's supporting those opportunities so that way it is. We know you're
Mhm.
right. The odds are we know there's more women out there.
Yes.
It speaks for any esports, right? Why is there
Any,
not more
any.
representation? That's the question. And you're working at the ground level. We all need to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Together we rise.
Together. No, I love
Yes.
it. You are an absolute delight, Steffi. Thank you so much for your inspiration. I love your approach to things. As we go throughout the week, I'm just thinking, how do I be a champion for myself so that way I can
Yeah.
be a champion for other women in this space, right? That's where it begins.
Yes. It's important just to
Hmm.
really tune away the negativity. It's
Yes.
it's it's simple to say,
Yeah.
because I'm in this space
Hmm.
now. If you're not, it's not. It's, you probably say, "Ah, you're just saying that because you don't know my life." You're correct. I don't know your life, but if you invest in yourself,
Hmm.
you'll never lose.
Yes. And that's a challenge, right? It's so easy to put others in front, but investing in yourself is important. You're
Hmm.
valuable. You're important. You are going to do good things because you can. You have that
Yes.
potential. And it's about taking advantage of that. I hope you all just pull that. Just take
Yes.
that home with you and realize how much you can do. That's a
Yep.
mentality
You.
that feels very pervasive at times. Like we're one person in all of these, but it's amazing what you can do for yourself
Hmm.
in your space. Doing something that invests in you that makes you come alive can transform the world you live in.
And another thing is important in this equation: do
Hmm.
not compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
Do not compare yourself to others, because there is only one of you,
Mm.
and you're yourself, your special person that you are. It's you. So if you can continue to compare yourself to other, then you're going to spend all the energy looking at other instead of investing in yourself. So each one of us as their own walk in life, as their own experience. So don't compare yourself to other. You don't know what's behind some person, like, so don't compare yourself. Why you're doing it? Don't do it. Like, just think of you, invest in you, like, and then support others
Mm-hmm.
because it's important, but don't compare. Compare is never a good thing. Don't do it.
Exactly. Exactly. I
Yes.
think that is a perfect ending to this. Be kind to yourself. All right. Push yourself further. Kindness isn't softening. See your potential, invest in it. Don't focus on others, focus on your goals. Yep.
Hmm. Never give
Beautiful.
up.
Never give up. Never give up. You all heard it here. Your audience, y'all have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for dropping in, having these wonderful commentaries. Honestly, Steffi, they're all in love with you. I've been watching this go, and this is a huge fan base that just like, we love Steffi. They know what you've been about.
Thank
They
you.
are inspired, and I hope that just lets you know how well you are loved, because this is
I love that. Thank you
so
so
great.
much. And I'm gonna go back and look at the at
Yes.
the recording and see everything. And just are you in it? Because I
Yes.
am.
Yes. Yes. Steffi, you've been fantastic. We'll see you all next week for another episode of Pink Pixels. Come back for more inspiration, more stories, more community. We'll see you all then. Bye, everyone.
Ciao. Bye bye. Ciao ciao.